We're about to talk noughties, aren't we? Let's do it. Hello and welcome to the Doctor Who Decades. This is part 5, the noughties. So before I get to the revival of the show in 2005, I want to talk to you all about what happened, just before that. So it had been about 7 years since the TV movie. The year 2003, UK TV Gold hosted the 40th anniversary celebrations with a look back at all the 8 Doctors, were hosted by K9. Yes, K9. And also, in that 40th anniversary, there was an online animation called Shekra or something. I can't quite remember what it is now, but it was an animated episode that starred the voice of Richard E. Grant, as people said he would make a great Doctor, which I think he would, but it's never too late. It's never too late. So yes, we had the celebrations, but also there was rumours around saying that Doctor Who is said to be coming back the following year. So, in July 2004, the show, apparently, as people said, which was true, Doctor Who is going into pre-production. And it did. And the show was revived by Queer as Folk writer Russell T Davies, and also Casanova writer. Russell T Davies resurrected the show, so my generation thanks you for that if you're watching. Anyhow, yes, Doctor Who returned onto our screens on March 26, I think it was, where Doctor Who returned to our screens in 2005, and it had new everything. It first focused on she became his companion in the end, Rose Tyler, played by former pop singer Billie Piper. And also in the lead role as the Doctor was Christopher Eccleston. Yes, Christopher Eccleston portrayed the newly regenerated 9th Doctor. He had a battered leather jacket, and unfortunately, his time as the Doctor was shortly lived. But in that shortly lived time, through one series, 13 episodes, he confronted Autons, he witnessed the end, he was there when the world died in a ball of flame in the year 5 billion. He also came across the alien ghosts from the past, and the Slovene in the present, and then, in episode 6, an old foe made its return, the Daleks, and for the first time ever, a Dalek, we saw them get upstairs. I mean, we did once in 1988, Remembrance of the Daleks, at the end of part 1, but, they went upstairs properly in the series 1 episode Dalek, and when we saw the Dalek stuck at the bottom of the stairs, he just went, elevate, and started hovering up the stairs. Oh, speaking of that, I got my Doctor Who shirt on today, Dalek. Excuse me. Anyway, moving further with that, the Doctor, this Dalek was apparently different. It was the first ever Dalek I ever saw on screen. In fact, a lot for my generation, I think. Then after that, he encountered the mighty Jagrafests and Reapers, gas mask zombies. What else? Slovene again. Also, Series 1 introduced us to another character as well, Captain Jack Harkness, who would later become a popular character that had his own spin-off show. We'll get to that very shortly. Anyhow, yes, then in the Series 1 two-part finale, to wrap it up, it's all ended with a scavenger race of Daleks resurrected by the Dalek Emperor, and somehow the Dalek Emperor survived. Now, the 9th Doctor was born out of the Time War, so he was in a post-Time War, distress when he came back to Earth. Gallifrey was gone and destroyed, and the Doctor was the last of the Time Lords, with the TARDIS being the last of its kind as well. But when the Doctor knew that there was no way he could save Rose, he took her back home to the present, and, well, Rose, being Rose, refusing to say goodbye, she opened the heart of the TARDIS. Now, that's when I learned as well that the TARDIS is a living machine, and it has a heart. And I think that's the first time we ever saw the heart of the TARDIS, the inside of its heart, in the console. So yes, she looked into the entire time vortex and went to the future to save the Doctor. And in that moment, she used that to destroy the Daleks into dust. Captain Jack Harkness, he got killed by a Dalek. Rose, she resurrected him, but she couldn't control it. She brought him back forever. Anyway, the Doctor had left Captain Jack Harkness, and, well, I'll get to him shortly. Anyway, in the end of Series 1, we were introduced to the regeneration, because we were a whole new generation of, kids that didn't know what regeneration was. And when he regenerated, I was mind blown by it. I was excited. I thought, this is amazing. And I'm thinking, what's going to happen now? Is this how they've all changed the actors? Because I was told that Christopher Eccleston was leaving when I came in from school one day in 2005. They weren't meant to announce it until the end, but it got out. Anyway, the 10th Doctor. So, a few months went by, and then, December, Christmas Day 2012, David Tennant had his first proper outing as the Doctor, even though through most of the episode he was asleep and in his post-regeneration state. We got to see, like, in the last 10 minutes of what the 10th Doctor's like, and at the end of that Christmas special, after he defeated the Cigarettes, he got into that suit and tie and, trench coat and sneakers, and that's when the 10th Doctor really became his own. So, throughout that time, the 10th Doctor, I think he became the Doctor of the noughties, and in his time he came across cat nuns, werewolves, and also encountered the Face of Bo for a second time. He met the Face of Bo in the episode End of the World, which was Series 1 with Christopher Eccleston. But yeah, the Face of Bo that became an important part in the Series 2 premiere, New Earth. I mean, Series 1 and 2. I mean, Series 2. Basically, it's Season 28. Anyway, so we then got through. We then got through some of the. So then he stopped the werewolf and saved Queen Victoria. But Queen Victoria, the house where the werewolf attacked, belonged to a rich family who Queen Victoria knew. And that was called Torchwood House. And from then on, in 1879, after the whole strange happenings with Queen Victoria, she started the Torchwood Institute. And also, in this new era, certain things have followed the Doctor throughout time. Like Series 1, it was Bad Wolf, and we didn't really find out the source of it until the 50th anniversary special. I'll get to that in the next video. But in Series 2, it was Torchwood. So, then Torchwood was being, like Bad Wolf and Torchwood, they were all being subliminally mentioned or seen in plain sight. Now, so, yes, after that, in 2006 with Series 2, the 10th Doctor also came across, he was reunited with old companion Sarah Jane Smith, played by Elizabeth Sladen, and K9. This was a good, call out to say that, it is still that same programme, it's still that same classic show, just modernised. And that was a good connection with the old series, bringing Sarah Jane into it. And Sarah Jane Smith was so popular that she got her own, spin-off series in 2008. 2007, sorry. She got her own spin-off, The Sarah Jane Adventures, which was aimed at kids. Doctor Who was aimed for adults. Also, throughout it all, the Doctor also came across Clockwork Droids, and also Series 2. Series 2 featured the return of the Cybermen in a parallel universe created by John Lumick, the Cyber Controller. And then he came across an alien called the Wire. He came across the Ood. The Ood, were a basic slave race. They didn't really explain much of them until they got back to them in 2004. Not 2004, Series 4, sorry. Anyway, what else did go on? Oh yeah, Series 1, I think the worst episode is Series 2. Probably the most boring one ever, and I was really looking forward to this episode because it had Peter Kay in it. Love and Monsters. The heroes barely made an appearance, and, the monster was designed by a 7-year-old, which was a Blue Peter competition. Anyway, the Doctor then went to 2012 Olympics, which was nothing like it were in Doctor Who. What else did happen? Oh yes, and then the Doctor was introduced to Torchwood, and in the 2-part finale in Torchwood, the Cybermen came back, also the Daleks, and for the first time ever we saw the Daleks and the Cybermen, I think the first time, we saw them cross over and fight. But the Doctor stopped them and sucked them into the void. Of course, in that finale, the Doctor sadly lost Rose, and she was forever trapped in a parallel universe. Anyway, with the first Christmas special being popular in 2005, 2006, and in fact every year since then in 2005, there has always been a Christmas special. That was The Runaway Bride. It introduced, future companion Donna Noble. Donna Noble, was a bride getting married on Christmas Eve. She got caught up in this dilemma with the Doctor, and turns out she was going to get fed to an alien creature called the Rachnos. But anyway, the Doctor, as usual, saved the day. So, Series, 1 was Bad Wolf, Series 2 was Torchwood. Now, I'm going to talk about Torchwood now. In late 2006, a series began. A series which was a spin-off of Doctor Who. This was called Torchwood, which was aimed at adults. I was just old enough to see it, so I watched Torchwood. It starred John Barrowman as Captain Jack Harkness. We don't know how he ended up in the present day working for Torchwood. At first my thoughts were he's built a time machine and gone back. And in series 1 of Torchwood, there was a lot of sex, aliens, and it was just for adults. But it just showed that Torchwood led to a Doctor Who brought a new spin-off. There was a spin-off in the 80s called K9 and Company, but that's just a one-off. So Torchwood did a first series and a second series. I loved the ending of Series 1 though, because Series 1, it like crosses over with Doctor Who. You know, like we hear the sound of the TARDIS, then Captain Jack's gone, and we didn't find out what happened until series 3. In 2007, Doctor Who came back on at spring for series 3. Sorry, series 3 introduced new companion Martha Jones. Now Martha Jones, played by Freema Agyeman, she was in Doctor Who before. You know, she was in series 2 working for Torchwood. She was playing a different character though then, Adiola, and then we found out in the series 3 premiere they were cousins. The Doctor met Martha on the moon. They came across some alien rhinos called the Jadoon, looking for an alien called a plasmavore, which can drain the blood of the creature and adapt to it. And, well, they found her. And, and then the Jadoon returned the hospital to Earth. And then, as a thank you, the Doctor said he'll take her on a trip. So he took her to, Elizabethan London, where they met Shakespeare, encountered witches. He took her to, and he thought one trip in the past, how about one in the future? So he took her to the year 5,053,000,053. Now in that one, Gridlock, and I think it was like a sad episode, because the face of Bo died. And in series 2, the Doctor was told that on his death, the face of Bo will speak a prophecy to a great traveller, and that prophecy to the Doctor when he told him was, "You are not alone." He looked at the face of Bo in disbelief, assuming he was still the last of the Time Lords. He explained it to Martha that he's the last of them, and that's what he thought all those years, all that time. Anyway, he then came across Daleks again, the Cult of Skaro, and also Professor Lazarus. He was getting close to the sun and was possessed by a sun alien or something. He became human for a 2-part episode. He, explained the Weeping Angels. Series 3 was a great series, and in the 3-part finale, he was reintroduced to the Master. Now, Series 1, they thought, let's bring the Daleks back. Series 2, Cybermen. Series 3, the Master. And in Series 3, the subliminal message in that was, vote Saxon. And it turns out Mr. Saxon was the Master. The rival Time Lord, as you'll know who he is. I've explained him in Part 2, the 70s. There are links for Parts 1 to 4 in the description below. So be sure to check them out. Also, there's my Facebook page down below, a link to that. Anyway, getting on with this one, the Master came back, and, well, let's just say, long story short, Doctor Who, the good guys always usually win. Well, most of the time. So then in 2008, before that we had a Children in Need special where the 10th Doctor and the 5th Doctor's timelines collided, in Time Crash, which is a great mini episode. Then we had the 2000 Christmas special with guest companion Kylie Minogue, who played Astrid Peth, and unfortunately she was killed in it. And then, spring, we got Doctor Who Series 4, which had the return of Catherine Tate as Donna Noble, and she just did one series, but it was great, Series 4. I think each series from, the noughties got better, and I think Russell T Davis's finales got better. So he then travelled with Donna Noble for 13 weeks, and in that time they came across Santarans, the Vashta Narada. Series 4 introduced a character who was very important to the series. A 2-part story written by Stephen Moffat, Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead, introduced future mystery woman River Song, who we'll get to again in the next video. So, Series 4, but in the finale of Series 4, the Daleks returned, a proper Dalek Empire. This also featured the return of mad scientist Davros. Davros returned, and, well, let's just say he was more wacky and insane and more evil and uglier than ever. Also, it had the children of time, all the Doctor's greatest companions, including Rose Tyler, who managed to come out of the parallel universe, Mickey Smith, Jackie Tyler, Sarah Jane Smith, Captain Jack Harkness. Oh yeah, Series 3, Captain Jack Harkness returned and explained everything. He went back in time to the 1800s, got stuck there, lived out all them days till he met the Doctor again. And turns out he can't die because he's a fixed point in space and time, because Rose, when she brought him back, she couldn't control it, she brought him back forever. So, time had gone by for Captain Jack, and he got to meet the Doctor again, and the Doctor couldn't really do anything, but Captain Jack noticed he was slowly beginning to age because he found a grey hair. And then as he left, he just said to the Doctor, "The face of Bo, they called me." And I was like, I had to watch that bit again just to make sure I heard it right, and I like going, no. And then just last thing, it's the face of Bo is alive! So, anyway, back to Series 4. Oh yeah, and also the Sarah Jane Adventures became a spin-off. So we had Torchwood, which was for adults, Doctor Who, which was for the family, and the Sarah Jane Adventures, which was for kids. And, both the spin-offs came to an end in 2010, I think it was. 2011. Yeah, 2011, I have to say that. Anyway, moving on throughout the decade, we then had a heartbreaking Series 4 finale for the Doctor when he had to make Donna Noble forget everything about him, which was sad, but But anyway, now 2009 was the year with no series, but to make up for that, we did have some specials, starting with a Christmas special called The Next Doctor, guest starring David Morrissey as apparently the Doctor, but then it turns out he was a human who thought he was the Doctor. That Christmas special had the return of the Cybermen, and then after that one, after the Doctor, defeated the Cybermen, we then, had 4 other specials. We had Planet of the Dead at Easter, which was an Easter special, with guest starring Michelle Ryan. We had the second one in the November of 2009, The Waters of Mars, guest starring Lindsay Duncan as his companion for that episode. That one was a bit of a creepy one, I think the Doctor got a bit intoxicated with power about time travel and stuff, because he claimed he was the Time Lord Victorious and messed about with a fixed point in time. Anyway, the last 2 specials were a 2-parter, premiering Christmas Day and New Year's Day, The End of Time, which guest starred Timothy Dalton, the former James Bond, as Rassilon. Well, we didn't know at first. In the first part we knew he was the narrator, in part 2 we knew he was the president, but then the twist revealed when the Doctor said that he was Rassilon. The 2-part winter special also featured the return of the Master. Oh yeah, and also I forgot to say, in the noughties, the Master was played by John Sim. But also, the 2009 specials marked the end for the 10th Doctor, as David Tennant announced a year before that he was leaving the show. He did 3 series, and I think he pulled out at the right time. I was a bit gutted, but I came to terms with it. And then around 2009 New Year, they introduced Matt Smith, the 11th Doctor. Anyway, yes, so after the 10th Doctor made his sacrifice to save his friend Wilfred, Donna's grandfather, the 10th Doctor's regeneration inevitably came. It was a sad one, but looking back at it now, I'm just thinking it has dragged on a bit, but Russell T Davies wanted to wrap up his whole run, because after the specials, Russell T Davies stepped down as lead writer, and the whole lead writing went to Stephen Moffat. And New Year's Day 2010, we said goodbye to the 10th Doctor, and that's when the 11th Doctor started, and the whole Stephen Moffat era. and that will all continue in the next video. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you want to share, please feel free to share. Also there's links to parts 1 to 4 in the description below. Also let me know what your favourite moments are in the noughties. This is probably like the longest video because I've had a lot to say about the noughties because I've grown up in that era with Christopher Eccleston and David Tennant. Anyway, also there's a link to my Facebook page. Please click that, like, and follow me on Facebook. So, till next time, goodbye friends.